Hey guys, how you going? This is BillyEatWorld again. Thanks for stopping by, and just remember, if you like what you see, don't forget to hit that like button. Also, feel free to take a look at some of my other Battlefield videos if you like. You can find them all in a playlist in the description down below. But anyway, in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the topic that everyone is talking about, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare versus Battlefield 1. And even though we don't even have the games to compare yet, people are already saying this could be the end of COD purely from the trailers alone. So why is this? Well, at the time of making this video, the BF1 trailer, which came out yesterday, has already got 13 million views, 700,000 likes, and only 14,000 dislikes. Whereas, on the other hand, the Infinite Warfare trailer, which came out about a week ago, has racked up 12 million views, 200,000 likes, and a whopping 800,000 dislikes. Obviously, this is a huge deal, and although YouTube isn't exactly a reliable way to project sales, it is a good indicator of public opinion. And so far it seems that most people just flat out don't like the new Call of Duty trailer, which leaves BF1 in a very good position to steal the spotlight. The thing is though, trailers and games are very different, so you might want to hold off on that RipCod hashtag because there's more to this than you might think. Because even though BF1 looks very interesting and seems to have a commanding lead in the race so far, its position is a lot more precarious than COD's. Now, to start with though, the first thing you're going to get from both of these trailers is the theme, which shows that already the games are going in very different directions. Call of Duty is going futuristic yet again, the same as it has for the last 3 or 4 games, whereas Battlefield is going back this time to World War I. So you might be thinking, clearly Battlefield has the edge here because innovation is what people really want, right? But sadly, the answer is, well, not really, because time and time again it's been shown from sales figures that most new ideas have a much harder time. Think of it like AC/DC, which is a legendary band that I love, but when you think about it, has a lot in common with COD. Because ever since the late 70s, they've been making album after album that sounds more or less the same, and yet they still sell millions of records. That's about where the analogy ends though, because the difference between Akadaka and COD is that AC/DC are by far the best at doing what they do, whereas COD is being slowly entombed by a sea of futuristic clones, and as far as I'm concerned, they're not really at the top of that heap anymore. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that people aren't hating on Infinite Warfare because COD does what COD does, but because it's gotten to the point where other franchises do it better. I mean, you only have to look at the graphics in this trailer to realise that it's starting to look very outdated compared to other futuristic shooters. On the other hand, I think the reason BF1 is gaining a lot of attention is because not only is it a fresh concept, it's got awesome graphics and a bunch of cool new features. But I guess the same things could have been said about Battlefront, which was a perfect example of why devs shouldn't focus on the window dressing at the expense of core gameplay. And that's really where the uphill battle starts for BF1, because what I'm seeing in the BF4 community is sort of like an apprehensive enthusiasm, because people like the concept, they like the visuals, and they like the new features, but at the end of the day, they really have no idea yet if it's actually gonna work. And even though I'm a long-time veteran of the series, I would definitely count myself as one of those people too. Because in terms of gameplay, it's still going to have to prove itself to me, which is something COD never really has to do for its fans. Now, once the betas come out for both games later this year, we'll really know for sure how they stack up against each other. But with that being said, it's at that point where the race could easily swing around, and you only have to look back at the launch of BF4 to see why. You've got to remember that all we've seen of BF1 so far is heavily edited clips, and that doesn't really give you a good idea of what the final product will be like. And most importantly, we've seen nothing yet of core things like game modes and networking, which is a huge make or break for online shooters these days. I do personally think that BF1 does have a fairly significant advantage though, and if DICE does manage to pull it off, it could be the game that finally topples COD. But on the other hand, if it has any sort of content issues like Battlefront or network problems like BF4, then I'd say more than likely COD is just going to keep on chugging. Because you can bet, with a trailer as generic as the Infinite Warfare trailer, the game itself is going to be just as generic as well. So even though it's starting out from behind, it does have the potential to come out ahead, purely because Infinity Ward won't be taking risks like DICE is. But anyway, guys, that just about wraps up my ideas on this topic. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. And as always, if you like what you see, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, check out the links in the description below if you want to see any more of my videos or if you want to support my channel on Patreon. And until next time, see you later and have a good one.